looking like this? Tell me, am I looking like this? No, not at all.
Hey, what's going on, you beautiful people? My name is Tiedie. I hope you guys had a pretty awesome day today. My day's been pretty awesome so far. So in today's video, what I wanted to do is address a question I get asked a lot here on this channel. I'd say once every couple of days, a few times a week here, a couple people sit down and leave a comment saying something like, hey Tiedie, where are the low poly tutorials? Or I would love to see some more low poly tutorials. And obviously I understand that is a very core part of my channel, so I thought I'd sit down and address that and sort of explain where they are or where they went and if they'll ever be coming back here on this channel. And for those of you who don't know, I guess I should probably give you a little background on my channel here and what exactly I'm talking about. So way back in the day, actually, the very first thing I used to post on this video, this is like way back in 2009, was pretty much just some goofy videos of me messing around with my friends and just like little videos I'd edit in Windows Movie Maker and like stuff I'd make in Paint and stuff like that, really silly stuff. Eventually, near the end of my elementary school days, I got some capture cards and I ended up making some gaming videos. I was very interested in that. I did montages and commentaries and, you know, like every other person back in the day who did that kind of stuff. I really enjoyed it. I loved doing it. It was a lot of fun, but it was way too oversaturated and it was something that I was sort of losing my passion in. So what I decided to do was focus my YouTube efforts onto something that I cared a bit more about, and that was actually 3D graphic design. So I did a bunch of speed arts and tutorials and stuff revolving around graphic design in Photoshop and another 3D application called Cinema 4D. And when I was doing a lot of my 3D stuff, I was essentially doing something called low poly, which is a style where it's very, very low polygonal models and stuff like that, where things are very jaggedy and you can see their base shape more or less. Nothing too detailed, but it has a very nice style to it. You know, it's something really cool. It's reminiscent of the old days of gaming, and it's definitely a style that's become a lot more popular recently, and I absolutely loved it. That's how I learned pretty much all of my core techniques and all of that, and those are where most of my most viewed videos come from. I did some tutorials on how to make like a low poly planet, some low poly landscapes, low poly objects and stuff like that, and those videos blew up. At least for me, I would consider them to have blown up. They've got well over 100,000 views and it did very well for me, brought in a lot of attention, and I love those videos. They're something I'm very, very proud of, but they were also tools for me to learn just as much as tools for the people I wanted to share it with. Essentially what I've always done on this channel is I've used this channel as an excuse to essentially share with you guys what I want people to share with me. So I always went on YouTube and I'd watch tutorials on low poly, and then I'd learn something, I would try to tweak it or add to it or buff it up and add my own twist to it, and then share it back with people in whatever way I felt was the best way to do so. And eventually that means as soon as I sort of, you know, get used to something or want to improve myself, I'm going to start doing that with new things that I'm also trying to learn. So essentially with low poly, I feel like you get to a point with it where eventually you're just so confident with it, since it is such a basic premise. Like low poly is, you know, if you practice it enough, I'd say for like a year, you can really get super good at it and master it. It's more or less design than actual technical ability. So eventually you get to a point where it's like, okay, I understand how to do this. I understand that pretty much you can make any shape with the most basic functions in a 3D program. And I sort of just got sort of tired of it. And I'm like, okay, I understand it. And you know, this is all I really can do. I could only really work in low poly, and I wanted to take it to the next level in which I could start to make things look actually realistic. So yeah, there was a period for about a year where I was only doing low poly art and something like that, and I loved it because low poly looks so cool, and I still love it to this day. Obviously it is super cool. I wasn't doing it just because it got me views or anything. Like, I was genuinely super interested in it. I loved learning about it, but I also realized something, that if I wanted to continue doing 3D modeling, if the only thing I'm capable of doing is low poly, that's simply not good enough, right? Like you cannot go too far with that. Despite it looking cool and all that, you know, if that's all I can do, I need to learn more. So I want to learn how to do actual 3D modeling, recreate things to look as realistic as possible, make high fidelity, you know, models and stuff like that. And obviously, if I'm just focusing on low poly and making things look super simplistic and dumbed down, I'll never get to that. So I continued along and I tried to learn new programs such as Maya and Substance Painter, and I'm continuing along learning even more ones such as the Quixel Suite and Marvelous Designer. And as I learn these programs, you know, I'm trying to increase the quality of my work more and more and more, and make things look as realistic as possible and as good as I can. And since I'm doing that and I'm finding this stuff very fascinating, I try to teach that stuff back to you guys, because I honestly think in a lot of my low poly tutorials, if you do watch all of them, I pretty much cover everything that you need to know, like everything I know at least, and everything that you should probably, you know, understand when making this kind of stuff, because it is such simplistic work that as long as you know how to extrude basic things and bevel certain things, like, you are pretty good when it comes to that stuff. So I just want to make sure that I'm always, you know, keeping my knowledge really sharp and trying to improve on my own work and learning as much as I can, and continuing that. So what does that mean for the future of low poly on this channel? Well, I love the style, and this is by no means saying that it is really easy to do. There are some low poly artists out there who make some incredible stuff that I couldn't even dream of making. Which kind of contradicts exactly what I just said, but that's also because a lot of these low poly artists that make this crazy stuff are also incredibly good realistic 3D artists who can make awesome 3D high fidelity models, right? So, you know, sort of the more you learn about how to do really high quality models, the more it's going to aid every other aspect of your work, right? So for me, I'm not at a level right now where I'm just like, I'm super confident with everything I'm doing, and because of so, I just want to keep learning. I just want to keep adjusting my style and adapting and learning new programs and continue building out my portfolio. And I mean, like, the stuff that I used to make was really cool and I loved it, but it's super simplistic. Like, compared to now, the stuff I was making back then, yes, I love it, I love the style of it, but the stuff I'm working really hard on right now is so much more time consuming, and I feel like I'm accomplishing more, and it's something I'm actually proud to put in a portfolio. So technically I could go back and still post you tutorials, but essentially making a tutorial on something like that is like a 3-4 hour project, and when I have like a whole day's worth of work I need to accomplish for a certain piece I'm working on right now, it's kind of, you know, getting in the way a little bit, and I'd rather start teaching you guys some more advanced stuff, simply because a lot of the low poly stuff I feel like is more or less stuff that anyone can pick up with enough practice if you keep trying at it and keep working on your own stuff. Because for me, I only watched about like 2 or 3 low poly tutorials and then just kept practicing and practicing and practicing and revising my work and stuff like that, and just continuing along, and eventually just sort of get to understand the basic premise of it. I feel like if you watch my old low poly tutorials, like I said, covered everything that I personally know about it, and if you take that knowledge and just sort of tweak some settings and, you know, practice with it and adjust some things, I'm sure you can sort of even go way beyond what I did and start to make your own style and learn even more stuff. But hopefully that explains it to you guys. For me personally, I felt like if I continued just doing low poly work, it would have definitely been holding me back, and I just want to continue learning as much modern stuff as I can, because I'm trying to get into the games industry, and because of so, I do need to learn all the most modern techniques, and this honestly fascinates me. All the crazy stuff people are doing with this modeling technology these days, it is really interesting and really fascinating, and I do want to be a part of that. So I'm continuing along and working as hard as I can, learning as much new stuff, and yeah, hopefully that answers everyone's questions about where the low poly content is. Will it come back? We'll have to see. You know, I'm doing some projects right now. If I do want to revisit it, I'll probably have like a mini series for it. If anything, I'll probably make it into a series where it's more of like an intro to 3D. I'd probably do some low poly stuff for that, but sort of doing these old 3D landscapes and rendering them out, I don't know, we'll see. I wouldn't promise anything, but you never know, I guess. I do love the style, so I might return to it one day, but I'm in no rush to do anything like that. But yeah, hopefully that answers everything that you guys had to ask. If you do have any more questions though, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. But anyways guys, hopefully that doesn't make you too upset me talking about low poly and where I'm going with that. But anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you understand, but once again, my name has been Tiedie. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya.